Time to pack your bags, Francine. Stan's just not the right man. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 reasons why Francine Smith should divorce Stan. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at examples of Stan Smith of American Dad being a terrible husband.
I don't know why Francine's mad at me for always being right. I don't get mad at her for always being wrong.
Number 10. His infidelity. Haunted by his own traumatic homecoming, Stan takes pride in the fact that Francine was elected homecoming queen, and can't wait to rub it in everyone's faces at her high school reunion. However, once there, they discover that the title should have really gone to Francine's classmate, Betty Sue. Wanting to be with the real homecoming queen, Stan attends the rest of the reunion with Betty Sue while using his CIA double to distract his wife.
I'm with the homecoming queen, and you know what that means?
It's not quite cheating, but sneaking off with another woman is pretty dishonest.
I guess it was.
Number 9. He's incredibly shallow. Before Stan and Francine are set to renew their wedding vows, Stan admits that he only married Francine for her looks.
There was nothing else?
Nope.
Upon hearing this, Francine reveals that her outward appearance is far from au naturel, and without the cosmetic changes she painstakingly applies on the daily, she actually looks, well, rather different.
Stan, this is me.
What the hell happened?
Francine refuses to renew their vows unless Stan can accept her for who she is. Although Stan brings himself to do so, it's only by making himself completely blind.
I promise, when you start to sag, to subject you to risky elective surgery.
When they finally work out their differences, it leads to some of the most cynical vows ever exchanged. Number 8. He's sexist. A staunch conservative, Stan believes in traditional values. However, he takes his views on gender way over the line. An overbearing know-it-all, Stan believes a woman's place is in the home, and feels threatened when Francine shows any kind of independence.
I want to go back to a simpler time, when men were men and women had no say.
In fact, in the episode Stan of Arabia, he sings that he wishes he could go back to a time when women didn't have a say, and just did what they were told. He seems to get his wish when his family relocates to Saudi Arabia, where he gets awfully comfortable with the repressive gender roles.
And in Saudi Arabia, Daddy makes the decisions, Mommy makes a sandwich. Mommy makes a sandwich.
Number 7. He thinks nothing of committing violent and criminal acts. In getting what he wants, Stan often resorts to extreme measures. He's kidnapped several people, including Hilary Duff when he forced her to go on a date with Steve, and a baby that he decided shouldn't be raised by gay parents.
50 miles to the freedom of an orphanage, where we'll get you some real parents.
And don't get us started on what he did to his mom's boyfriends. He's also physically assaulted strangers out of both anger and just the desire to make friends laugh. Even family members aren't safe. In the episode Bully for Steve, he repeatedly beats up Steve in the hopes he'll stand up for himself.
Stop! Get off me!
Yeah, that's what your mom said.
Number 6. He's arrogant and endangers his family to prove himself right. Though he is a good provider, Stan often puts himself ahead of the family. In one episode, he straight up abandons them to outwit a car salesman, leaving them in ruin.
Stan, it's time to come home.
No, I don't deserve it.
Convinced that he always knows what's best, he also needlessly lands them in dangerous situations. In An Apocalypse to Remember, he forces them to live in the woods because he doesn't want to admit he was wrong about the apocalypse. And in Most Adequate Christmas Ever, his hunt for the biggest Christmas tree causes them to almost freeze to death.
I was peeing on a tree and it froze midstream.
Later that episode, he pulls a gun on God himself, a true sign of hubris. Number 5. He secretly had Francine hypnotized. This marriage obviously isn't built on trust. For 20 years, Stan took Francine to see what she thought was a marriage counselor, but in reality, the counselor was a hypnotist who had made an arrangement with Stan.
Great, here's this year's list of things I need adios.
While Stan left the room, the hypnotist would make Francine forget all the memories that made Stan look bad.
God, that's right. I was a stand-up comic.
It worked until the hypnotist, finally fed up, made Francine remember everything she'd been trained to repress. This isn't the only time Stan made Francine forget things, though, as Stan also once took her to the CIA lab for a memory wipe after he forgot an anniversary.
Just lose the last 20 hours of her memory. That ought to get me out of the doghouse.
Francine? Francine, can you hear me?
Number 4. He put a perfectly healthy Francine in a psychiatric hospital. Realizing he forgot his anniversary yet again in the episode American Fung, Stan has Francine committed to a psychiatric hospital to buy him enough time to shop for the perfect gift. Unfortunately, the plan goes awry when Stan spends the extra time buying himself cool gifts instead. 3 days later, when Stan arrives at the hospital to pick up Francine, he's still scrambling for gift ideas and presents her with a bucket of chicken.
Love? 3 days in a loony bin?
And a bucket of chicken.
As if things couldn't possibly get worse, Stan's actions lead to them both being sent to a doctor for a lobotomy. Number 3. His son died because he put off vaccinations. Remember that hypnotist Stan hired to make Francine forget his misdeeds? One of those repressed memories Francine uncovered was of wanting to get vaccinations for her twins, Haley and Bailey.
Dan, I think we should get Haley and Bailey vaccinated.
We'll talk about it later.
However, Stan wanted to put off the vaccinations. It's heavily implied that, since we never see Bailey again, Bailey died because he didn't receive the vaccine Stan denied him. This is far from the only example of Stan being a negligent father. He also once left Francine and Haley to die in space when Roger wanted to kill the Smith family.
It's gonna be okay, Francine. I made it to the escape pod. I'm safe.
What? Stan, hurry! We're almost on the ground!
Number 2. He shot Francine in the arm. Thanks to Stan's horrible instincts, the Smith family suffered a harrowing set of events when a massive hurricane struck their home. Adding to their misfortunes, they're attacked by a shark and then a bear.
It's okay. I let the bear in to kill the shark.
The following morning, when the storm clears up, Stan finds himself in a standoff with Cleveland Brown and Peter Griffin.
Everybody shut up and let me think. Just let me think.
When Francine opens the door to find out what's going on, a startled Stan shoots her right in the arm. Given how Stan has been reckless with firearms in the past, something like this was bound to happen. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions.
Guns are too dangerous for Steve. Promise you won't get him one for Christmas.
I promise I won't get Steve a gun for Christmas. Merry Wednesday, son.
And you learn there's no need to be threatened by my success.
Absolutely. Go Team Smith. It's Stan the Man. Release Greenspan's schnauzer.
She's choking! Dad, do something!
No, don't eat food you can't handle. Do not help her, Francine. Come on, Haley. And get yourself out of this.
Number 1. He framed her for murder. When Stan wanted to set up one of Francine's friends, Melinda, with his boss, CIA Deputy Director Bullock, Francine was skeptical. It turns out Francine was right, as Bullock wound up accidentally killing Melinda on their first date.
She was a terrorist! Curse my CIA-honed reflexes!
Stan's reaction? He keeps the truth a secret, just to avoid hearing Francine say those stinging words, "I told you so."
I don't remember anything!
That's because you got drunk and blacked out. Again.
Instead, he convinces Francine that she was the one who killed her friend, causing a complete emotional breakdown. Now that's reason enough for Francine to start looking for a good divorce lawyer.
You bastard!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.